going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to continue our hype and anticipation for College Football 25's Dynasty Mode by breaking down some of the top transfer targets you need to go get in the transfer portal in your Dynasty offseason. One of the biggest discrepancies between NCAA Football 14 and College Football 25 is the evolution of the transfer portal and the importance of the transfer portal. In College Football 25, it's going to be as important aspect of the offseason as your recruiting. You're like kind of tidying up your business for your recruiting, the last little ditch efforts to try to get guys to commit to your school. Well, now you're going to have to balance that with the transfer portal. Whereas in NCAA Football 14, it was pretty much non-existent. It was like RNG, you'd get a couple players here, there, lose a couple players here and there. It is going to be an entirely different animal in College Football 25, and I want to make sure you guys are prepared to go get some absolute stud targets. Now, I'm not going to break down Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, like the stars that clearly why would even be talking about landing these guys in transfer portal. I'm going to give you guys some gems, if you will, some diamonds, if you will, some big-time athletes that regardless of if you're doing, you know, a 3, 4, 5-star school rebuild like Nebraska, Central Florida, Cincinnati, like these guys are going to be nice targets for you. Or if you're doing a cupcake school, 1-star, 2-star, team builder, these are going to be the players that you're going to push all your chips into the center of the table and to try and land them. We're going to start kind of with some of the bigger, more established names, and we're going to work our way up to the top of my true gem of gems and or freaks of freaks. And we're going to start with Squirrel White, the deep threat wide receiver out of Tennessee. He's likely going to be wide receiver 2 or 3 on the depth chart. So the transfer pitch is, hey, come to our school. You could be our wide receiver 1. He's a player that has been clocked at 23.4 miles per hour and an over 40-inch vertical. Big time athlete, big time speed. And I would project he's going to look something in line with this 95 speed, 96 acceleration, good deep route running, 94 jumping, great agility. And again, I'm just more so looking at the big-time athletes on these bigger schools because I assume there's going to be some element of College Football 25. When you're in these smaller schools and you're trying to recruit from these bigger schools, there's going to be that discrepancy. There's going to be that interest. It's going to be low for some of these players to jump ship to a, downgrade, if you will, in program. But you make a sales pitch for a perceived depth wide receiver, not a go-to, not a number 1 guy. And I think Squirrel White definitely fills that void. I will say, though, with this size, 5'10", 165 pounds, we got to wait and see how this wear and tear system kind of all breaks down in College Football 25. But I'm going to assume player with a profile like this, you have him running slants, you have him running those cheeky plays, you have him running the gadget plays, and he takes a couple big hits from a D-end, linebacker, hard-hitting safety. His body meter is going to look like you're playing SmackDown versus Raw 07 and you just get hit with 17 finishers. It's going to be red everywhere. So I think that is going to be something to take note of on some of these undersized players. But for me, still at the end of the day, until proven otherwise, speed kills, and you can get that with Squirrel White. Plus, badass name. Tell you what, staying in that mold of undersized playmaker, we're going to look at Jaylen Lucas, an Indiana transfer, going to Florida State. He's going to be a junior, so you'll be able to, much like Squirrel White, recruit him for his senior campaign. He's going to be buried on that depth chart there at Florida State. Dynamic playmaker. He can run it. He can catch it out of the backfield, kickoff returns. Now, very undersized, 5'9", 170, and even more so than Squirrel White as a running back. The punishment and the wear and tear that he's going to hit, definitely something to be kind of aware of. But he has 4.29 speed, and the big comp right now for him ahead of the upcoming draft in 2025 is like he is your DeAnthony Thomas, Darren Sproles type playmaker. So I'm going to say somewhere in the ballpark, 97 speed, 96 acceleration, 92 agility, 93 change of direction, plus you're going to get a guy that is going to be big on returns. And if you plan on running and I don't mean this as a slight, but you try to run like a gimmicky offense, this is a guy that's going to be able to wear a lot of hats and do a lot of things and move the football as long as, he doesn't get absolutely destroyed from the wear and tear system. Now, because they're not in the mod per se to only play now, the next player I want to highlight is no longer on Wyoming, and I think these stats are a little bit off the mark, but it's Colby Taylor, 6'2", 185 pound. You're looking for a height, weight, speed corner. He recently just transferred to Vanderbilt. Now, Taylor, as we try to get him involved here on this Wyoming defense, got a 40-inch vertical, runs in the 4.3s, and I think if you're kind of looking at players that I think you could probably view more so as like attainable transfers, I would probably not look a lot further than, hey, how about we go get this fast, there we go, make a play, this fast Vandy corner. Definitely take a look at Colby Taylor. Next play I want to talk about was number 38 on Bruce Feldman's freak list, and that is the D lineman from Penn State, Zainere. Now, Penn State, bigger school, probably going to be difficult to get him to jump to a smaller program in the transfer portal. But if you want a big-time athlete, this is a guy that's going to be getting that draft hype, likely of easily the next Aaron Donald. That is how freakily terrifying he is. He's 6'1". He's bulked up a little bit past his weight, 284. Ran a 4.66 in the 40, which is absolutely disgusting. So I try to just kind of ballpark what some of his stats are going to look like. I mean, on top of that, broad jump 9'10", which is outrageous. 425-pound bench press. Younger player as well, so you're seeing just an absolute scary athlete that is going to bring big-time versatility to your defensive line. And let's be honest, for the more casual player, using D lineman is usually where you like to start out first. And I feel like Zane Durant can play D-tackle, 3-4 defensive end. And you can line up an edge rusher. I think get a lot of versatility here for a very surefire pick for a user on your defense. Now, the next transfer target is the only quarterback on the list, and he just recently transferred from Boise State to Arkansas, but he's a redshirt junior, so you could get him ahead of his senior campaign. That is the 6'6", 230-pound Jaylen Green. I don't even think he's going to be the starting quarterback at Arkansas, so likely you're trying to negotiate with a quarterback too. He got up to 23 miles per hour on the GPS. At 6'6", you're going to get a player that likely is going to have 91, 92, 93 throw power. And I think out of all the freaks that are in college football, everyone wants to find the next super cheesy freak athlete type quarterback. And I don't think you need to look much further than Jaylen Green. Now, I will say, just for discussion's sake, how this game will handle players that have, been in and out of the transfer portal. Is there going to be a limit? Are they going to be harder to flip guys that just recently transferred? I don't know, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be trying to flip Jaylen Green as hard as I can. Next up, we're going to look at a player who came in number 13 on Bruce Feldman's freak list. That is linebacker Devin Jackson out of Oregon. 6'2", 230 pounds. He ran 23.5 miles per hour, which is the fastest player in Oregon, and they recruit big-time freaks. 39 inches in the vertical. Squat is 605. This is a player that is going to be, let's be honest. You move from Zane Durant, who's casual, user of the D-line. The next step is get you a freak linebacker. And that is going to be Devin Jackson. You can use him at linebacker, sub-linebacker. You can move him to freaking safety if you wanted to. I'm going to project he's going to have somewhere in the area 95 speed, 93 acceleration. Everything else, very much a work in progress. He's not a player that has a great pedigree so far in college football. I imagine his rating is not going to be particularly good. He'd be a player that only people find out if they go to the portal and sort by speed at a specific position, here in the case of linebacker. But I think trying to flip him, I don't think it's going to be particularly difficult. Again, he's right now more established as a special teamer than anything. But I think if you're looking for a reasonable user linebacker to get easily in your transfer portal, outside of the fact that obviously maybe convincing someone to leave Oregon to come to a smaller program could be difficult, I think Devin Jackson is the linebacker you need to go get. Now, my second to last player is Amorion Walker out of Michigan. Now, this is going to be a very, very fun player for a bunch of reasons. Now, yes, you got to try to get him flipped from Michigan. It's going to be difficult. You're going to need to, there's not NIL, but there is kind of NIL. You're going to have to pull out all the stops to get him to convert. However, we said at the top, I'm not going to say Travis Hunter. Everyone would probably want Travis Hunter, that two-way player. How that's going to actually play out in college football 25, yet to be determined, but I imagine it's going to be pretty fun to find out. Walker is kind of the cheaper version of your Travis Hunter because he's played both wide receiver and corner. I imagine he's going to make the depth chart and make college football 25 as a corner, but he's going to have receiver stats as well. 6'3", 180 pounds. So you get some height, weight, speed at corner or at wide receiver. 6'10", 3-cone, which is ridiculous. A 3'89" shuttle, which is ridiculous. A 42.5-inch vertical, 11-foot, almost 11.5-foot broad jump, 4.34 confirmed speed. So I think his stats are going to kind of look in the ballpark of this: 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 94 agility, 96 jumping, and you're getting, he's going to be your budget Travis Hunter. I guarantee it. He's going to be buried on the depth chart there a little bit at Michigan. You're going to have the Will Johnsons of the world. You're going to get all the love and praise. So maybe a little bit more attainable than you would expect. And hey, maybe you could sell him on the job. Maybe he wants to play wide receiver. And Michigan's only giving him the opportunity to play corner. That could work in your favor, trying to land him in the transfer portal. I'm going to imagine before you even clicked on this video, if you had an idea of who some of these big players are, you knew about Nick Harbor, the true freshman from South Carolina, 6'5", 240. He is the freak of all freaks. He was #1 on Bruce Feldman's freak list. He said he's done it for 20 years. The exact quote, "In 2 decades of doing this, I've never had a true freshman #1, but Nick Harbor is different." 6'5", 243. He ran a 10.22 100-meter dash. He is 23 miles per hour on the GPS. He asked his strength and conditioning coach, who worked at Alabama with Julio Jones and Derrick Henry, and he said he's a taller Julio Jones with Derrick Henry's body type. He is the freak of all freaks, and I made a tweet about this, did some good numbers. I'm going to go into generational debt to try to get Nick Harbor on my squad. Now, I think there's a chance that some of these players that I mentioned, they're going to be up for debate a little bit. There's going to be people out here that are diehard college football fans. They're like, C4, you are sleeping on this guy. You're, A, B, and C, whatever excuse in the books. And hell, I want you guys to comment if I'm sleeping on anyone. Maybe I'll make a second video. Maybe revamp this, update the list a little bit. But there is no way that anybody is taking the pound-for-pound crown for top transfer target than Nick Harbor. Because he's going to be buried on the depth chart. His base rate, he's done nothing. He's very similar to Devin Jackson, the linebacker from Oregon. Hasn't really popped off. Now, he is going to have the reputation. He might be, tough to sway from that discussion point, but there is going to be no one athletically that's going to be somewhat reasonably attainable than Nick Harbor. So that is my list of the top transfer targets for you guys to go and get in the transfer portal ahead of college football 25. Now, we are going to wait for the official roster release. I don't know when or how they're going to do that. I know all those people that went to the event that got to play the game, much like when you get the Madden beta, everything was kind of scrambled, so you didn't really get to see the actual roster ratings. I imagine, much like Madden, it's a big marketing tool that they are going to drop some rosters eventually, and then we could go, A, confirm this list and say, yeah, look, they got all these things right. These guys are all freaks. Let's go get them. B, there might even be more hidden gems that I haven't missed outside of the guys that you guys hopefully will comment down below that I can research even further. But these are all big-time freaks. We threw out a quarterback. We got some gadget players, some defensive players, and the freakiest of freak in Nick Harbor, which is going, I'll send my whole budget. Whatever it needs to do, I will spend all my assets into the fake NIL so that I could go out and get him on my team. He is my #1 guy. I don't know if we end up doing something like pink slips for this game, but that is the dream boat. And he also could play a little DN. Played wide receiver in high school, so you also get a little bit of like a reimagined Travis Hunter. Make him a two-way player that plays wide. Imagine having a guy that is your streak guy. You can just throw it to him 80 yards downfield, catches a touchdown, and then also he's your untouchable pass rusher. Having a guy that goes over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 15 sacks, something ridiculous like that. I'm here for it. I want to embrace that chaos, but I hope you guys did enjoy. If there are any other kind of lists like this, previews that you want me to kind of hash out here, relation to Dynasty Mode ahead of college football 25, also let me know in the comment section below. I love doing these type of videos because it just helps build the hype a little bit about a mode that's going to take over pretty much all of our lives in about a month's time. But thank you guys very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. The train is getting ready to leave the station here on the channel ahead of college football 25. I'd love for all you guys to hop on because we are going to absolutely crush it and dominate this space this season. But until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.